안녕하세요. 저는 리라입니다, and welcome to my channel. And today we are doing something different, a different approach. Bit of my story and why I went into K-pop. I just started looking at YouTube, and I was tired of news and bad news and Facebook and all the negativity, and I was really struggling in a way of negativity, and I went just out of everything, started to watch YouTube and K-pop, and that was positivity and everything, but also like a hope. When I saw my daughters introduced me to BTS, and they had a huge fan base, yeah, and they were engaging in very nice things, charity all over the world, and the group itself and other K-pop groups had speeches in the UN and everything. So I thought, it's hope for the world, and it's the young people today are so what do you call it, sensible, and they have good thoughts, and I think that I didn't have to be so scared in a way. But they were a bit unengaged. Some are very little interested in politics and history, actually. And to engage in politics, you need to know history, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, you have no chance, in a way, to say it. Yeah. So that was a concern, and we're teaching some young people about history, and some, especially girls, they are in Norway, which we live in. They are so many, I feel like, are looking for a sugar daddy. I'm sorry. Yeah, a lot of makeup, and they don't. And I say, yeah, but soon we will see you in the military. And they just, no, I'm not going in the military. Yeah, but all the girls have to go in the military in Norway. Of course, many of them don't have to, but they are going to be checked out for the military. And even our crown princess is in the military. But then something happened in another country, which we are talking about, South Korea, and I hope that it was a scare for them. That wasn't that dangerous, but you never know. But I think they wake up.
It was at least the closest they've been to have their daily life changed.
Yes.
In the last 20-something years.
Yes, and I think that even their parents have told them, but they knew about it and they learned about it in school, but they doesn't affect me, doesn't happen to me.
It seemed too distant.
Yeah. So, but suddenly something happened, and martial law, that's quite serious. And when you see all the military, but what was very comforting to me is that the military was not that aggressive.
I also think that a lot of the people in the military, I know at least from reading some news articles, that a lot of people in the military also left the military.
Yeah.
After this situation, because it haven't been sent military to the National Assembly in South Korea since 1990s. And suddenly they're being sent to the National Assembly to stop the politicians from entering.
Actually, it stopped them from doing their job.
Yes.
And that picture going viral when the woman
grabs the rifle.
That is epic. That was so cool. But the other thing is that they use these light sticks to protest and to turn something that is so negative into a positive protest. It's a strong protest. It's not a playful, fun thing. It was a strong protest, but in a peaceful and very adult way. And they cleaned up the streets. They what you call it, for the red lights.
Yeah, derogate
The red
traffic.
lights. Yeah, the traffic, and some anonymous people, rich people, paid coffee, and some celebrities, anonymous and not anonymous. I think IU bought food and drinks for the protesters. Said that send the bill to me, and a lot of K-pop songs just went into protest songs. So
And Asia haven't really had the history of peaceful protests
no.
from earlier on, both in South Korea, China, Japan, Vietnam. They all have history of really bad protest, with starting peaceful, ending up with military showing up, showing force.
Yeah.
That's the main goal, I think, is that this is one of the first protests that are in this scale, but still peaceful.
Yeah, because it was big. It was all over the country, and huge crowds, and still peaceful. I don't think it was any injuries.
No.
I haven't seen any injuries, and people were taking care of each other. And but what I say, so my message to the young people, as of yes, I'm in the showbiz industry, but on the side I have a job talking about war history, and you as well. So and what these old people say is that you need to take care of the peace. It's like a glass bowl. It's easy to break, easy to lose, and the same is with democracy. You have to protect it, like every day. We take it for granted.
Yeah.
But even in peaceful Norway, that has less issues than South Korea, you need to engage every election, because especially in the modern times, populistic parties are taking over, and the easy, fast solutions is easy to sell in social media. And of course you think about yourself, and I don't want to pay tax. It's like I have some friends from the Philippines, and it was hard to make people pay tax.
Yeah.
But as she said, but pay tax. And I said to them as well, you have to write on Facebook, tell the population to pay tax, because what you get back is more that you than you
More
pay.
than you pay.
Yeah, and I've seen some YouTubers reaction to Norway and to Europe about the taxation system, and how much more they pay in the US as a citizen.
For normal services we take for granted.
Yeah, of course the poor people don't pay, but when the poor people get to the hospital, they are bankrupt because they haven't bought all this insurance. So or they don't get. As a friend of mine, his wife was just kicked out of the hospital and died.
Yeah, because if you go, you can get hurt on this side of a town, and there's 4 hospitals here, but you don't reach the last hospital because that's the only hospital supporting that will take you.
Yeah.
So you could literally die in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, because the 4 next hospitals doesn't cover your insurance.
There's too many private hospitals, and that use insurance instead of good public hospitals. So and schools and another thing that they don't think about, like the free schools, free university, that it is in most countries in Europe. We think it's quite good in Norway, and we get grants and cheap loans if you want to study for many years, and free books on many, but not in the higher education. But even in Sweden it's even better for the educators. But then what is important to you? And freedom. What is freedom? That's the freedom of speech. I think is very important.
Yes.
But freedom to have weapons. What kind of freedom is that? Is one thing we don't. I don't think we should discuss that, but just throw it out there as a thought.
At least with gun laws back in Norway, it's strict.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have something like, I think we're around 4 guns per 100 people or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And in the US, it's 36 guns per 1 person.
36 guns per person.
Yes.
Oh my
in total.
God.
And like they have banned like small handguns that are meant for police use
Mm-hmm.
and military use, but you as a private person can go and buy military weapons. Like you can buy a machine gun if you want to, because that's your right as an American. And the only reason they have those gun laws are because if the government turns tyrannic, then you should have a way to protect yourself from the government. And when that's the
reason,
then it gets all wrong.
Okay. Correct us if we're wrong, but that's at least some of the things we are saying. We know it's right. So, and usually he has a lot of right things.
When you
but,
fight gun laws with more guns,
mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. And so now we have very easily gone into America, and that's what's
I think
we always do, because we are so affected by them.
And I think a lot of the countries looking up to America as a place to begin, I think that's not the place to look.
No, I think maybe, and now even YouTubers are looking to Europe and see. We have many different kinds of democracies in Europe, and I'm sure that you can find one that suits you best.
Yeah.
I would not say that Norway is the best, and some say Finland is it's like the most happy people, but I don't know. I think it's divided because they have a high suicide rate by young boys. So you have to see. I think that the Danes are very happy.
Danes are happy.
And they have some smart laws, but for us, I don't think we can copy them either. I don't think we can put the liquor in the store. We in Sweden, we have a monopoly of liquor. They have to go and buy it in a special place, and
owned by the government.
Yeah, owned by the government. The thing is that it seems stupid, but if we're going to change it now, I don't think the mentality of Norwegian drinking habits will.
I don't think it would comprehend the change.
No, so that's the thing, and also Sweden. So it is a bit against the EU. So I think Sweden had some problems, but I don't know. It was very strange to drive through Europe and see that they had liquor in the gas station.
Yeah, like when you go to Denmark and you can go to the gas station and you can buy vodka.
Yeah, that's
I don't know how that would work in Norway.
No, and I was very glad. I was together with an alcoholic once, and I was very glad that he could not go out after the shop have closed there.
And just buy more?
And buy more, no. Because usually when you are sober, you have
but
some
like
sense.
In Denmark it works because the youth are so used to it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the Danish people start drinking really early, but in very controlled scenarios. But
and I think that the Norwegians, they are drinking a bit like South Korea.
Yeah.
Too much at once. And so because I went to Seoul in February, and I really saw really drunk people.
It's
so
like in Japan.
I felt like I was home. It was like being in another planet, because it's so different. It's another side of the world. They look different. There were more people look alike. Here it's more diverse. We have always been diverse because we have been mixed through the Vikings, I think.
Yeah.
But but still they have some of the same mentality. A bit shy, and a bit don't sit
Hard to get
beside
into.
me, and hard to talk to.
Like
and
we're easy to talk to when we're drunk.
yeah,
It's easy to get a Norwegian best friend when you're out drinking.
mm-hmm.
But the next day when he's not drunk, he's probably gonna act like he doesn't know you.
Yeah, and that's not because he doesn't like you. It's because he's shy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Like
what.
you can sit in a Norwegian bus and there's 2 seats, but most people just take 1 seat.
Yeah.
And half the bus is empty.
And of course, in Seoul, it's a big city. You sit beside each other. That's also in Oslo.
Yeah.
It's different in the countryside, but and on some countrysides here you get a nice community, and as a foreigner you get into that community. Here as well, we have a lot of foreigners where we live now, and they are really integrated, a lot of them, and we know them, and so on the countryside it's different, but anyway, on the bus to to the big city, there is, you don't sit and talk to this person besides you mostly, but so that's why I felt very similar to the South Korean people. What I think about is that they've been occupied by other countries many times, and maybe that like little brother country that has been occupied and been like the price of a war here and there, like Norway has been under Denmark and Sweden, like shifting all the time, and South Korea has been under China and Japan, and some help from the US, and yeah, and we also have help from the US and the UK. So we have a lot of similar history in one way. So that's why we feel like we're going to give you some advice in a way, or actually ask why. And it's wrong to ask because we are so influenced by them still, but anyway, we kept our socialistic democracy in Norway. Even some of our political parties want to do as the US, and
yes, some parties want to go closer and get more into the American model.
But I don't think the election model at all, no, but less taxes and more freedom is what they want, but I don't think that that's the one.
It wouldn't benefit us.
No, and I think that maybe South Korea, if you want to get more closer to North Korea, I don't think you should go closer to America. I think maybe you should think a bit like the Scandinavian countries.
And the sad part about South Korea versus North Korea and China, and it's like the US is almost using South Korea because of their location, and the fact that they have had so many problems, like at least the last 60 years, with North Korea being North Korea, that the relationship will never get better if they go the more American way, because the American way isn't to solve it, it's to crush it.
Yeah.
And then it's only gonna fuel this fight for at least another 60 years.
Yes. I don't think that I don't say that you should go and be one country again, but have more normalized relationship, and like a good neighbor country. Like we don't want to go under Sweden, even if Sweden is much better in many aspects, and we are very close in the system. We want to be our own country, and maybe it should be North and South Korea, but you could be as good as friends as we are with Sweden and Denmark, and have cooperations and things like that.
Norwegians, we go to vacation in Denmark. We travel to Sweden to buy groceries.
and that could be a thing. They have their system and they decide what they do, and South Korea have their system, decide what they do. But if they are not a threat to each other, but they could help each other and exchange and have some cooperation, I think that would be nice.
Benefit them more than whatever they're doing now.
Mm. So,
and at least with the president in South Korea imposing martial law because of anti-state activities and North Korean influence, I think it's only pushing the youth and at least your generation closer to this fear-mongering situation of North Korea.
Yeah, and why the North Korea is fighting in the Russian-Ukrainian war as well is crazy. And that, I think, is what you call it, because of South Korea's very close contact to America. We say America, it's a bad thing to do. USA.
Yeah, USA.
America is a lot. It's a whole continent, and we have a more sensible. Sorry. Another country called Canada.
But it's getting like this. All these countries are doing like this overseas proxy wars, and it's, I don't know. Like Ukraine has been this hotspot for like proxy wars between North Korea and Russia, versus like America, France, and every other European country. And it's like, it gets messy when every country just decides to use one small country as a proxy country for a lot of problems.
Okay, we are criticizing USA a lot here, but we are allies with the USA as well.
Yes.
And that's what we're the advice to South Korea is that you can still be allied with United States, but
without following their every move.
Yeah. And maybe not look so much up to them.
Because it's still two different countries, two different cultures. South Korea has their own violent history from like 100 years. The USA has their history.
Yeah, and the election system in United States, it's another story. We're not going to take that here. That's many programs about that. But anyway, so please look into your own history and build your new political situation. But I think that if you look into especially the Scandinavian country, the most happiest countries in the world, and other countries in Europe also that has a stable and nice economy, but and learn and pick and choose what suits you instead of just look to America, to United States, I mean. And maybe Canada. Look at Canada.
Yeah, Canada's nice.
Is and use your voice, continue and learn. All the young people, not only the light sticks. Now you need to talk to your parents and your grandparents and read books and repeat what you learned in school, because you probably learned a lot of it in school. And fight. What would you like to do? Well, how is the path forward for this country? And it's an election. Who are you going to vote for? It's very important. But don't buy their populistic, I'm going to do this for you. What you call it? Advertisements in the social media. Look for the whole line, which direction that party is going.
And you should trust your government, but don't trust them blindly.
No. But when you they have different parties. I don't know how many parties they have to vote for.
7, I think.
That's healthy.
6 or 7.
That's healthy that they have so many parties. And then you're gonna see what is their overall views about life, about the politics. And one populistic party here and populistic thing is that it's easy to agree on is like keep foreigners out of your country. And that's a difficult
Like when
thing.
they say in Norway that we don't need foreigners, we don't need immigration.
That's wrong.
Like Norway wouldn't function without them.
No. So we need foreigners, and you need that. But
just like Norway or any other country, you have some kind of jobs that Norwegians don't want.
No.
Because we think we're too good for them. Like
and especially if you have many years of education, you don't want to go and wash.
You don't want to go
toilets.
washing or taking out trash or being a garbage man. But someone has to do it either way.
The thing is, in Norway though, it's good pay.
Yeah.
You get good pay to take the trash or be a washing lady or man. So that's also a political thing. That the minimum wage, how much that is. And but are you going to put restrictions on the immigrants? And that is an advice I would say yes. You
At
should
least have some standards.
Standards, yeah, because
and there has to
we are fought here now to get rid of the religion in the state. That people can be religious at home and in their own church as they want. And we still have a political party that's religious, but and me as a woman of the 70s and 80s that fought for the rights of women, I couldn't do everything as a girl. I can do now I remember quarreling with my brother that women couldn't be on a submarine, and they say why, and he had some reasons, but he's wrong. The women in submarines now, so we have fought for that. So when foreigners come from, I will say, underdeveloped countries, that was very bad said of me, but compared to our history, they are like further back in the time for me though, and I don't want them to drag me back to that time that the women should be in the kitchen and make babies, not make babies,
and a lot of the people
give birth to babies. So.
Where people emigrate from and to other countries like let's say Africa, the continent Africa, where you have small tribes handling all their problems themselves. There's no state police, no real military presence, and no real government, only warlords. And then you get all of these people into Europe because of crisis in their country. They need to be taught how the system works.
Yeah, and then they need help.
Yes.
Because they have traumas.
PTSD,
and when you take it's like a ticking bomb. If you just leave them be and say we're going to be nice to you and we're going to help you with money, and of course we are going to do that, but there is jealousy of other poor groups in this country, and some political parties are putting them up against each other. See, all these foreigners are getting so much money. Yeah, but they have nothing. They have no family. They have no chance. Then you get a criminal if you don't help them with money. Then of course you get a criminal.
Because it's the last resort.
Yeah, and but you still need them to. It's a freedom of religion as well, but I don't want to suddenly have to go back to the kitchen or have a headscarf, because
like if you want to use your headscarf and practice your own religion, be my guest. But don't impose your laws and your meanings.
No, and that is. a very difficult question. I don't like any religions, and I have to say that I call it religion when you have all these laws actually made by powerful men to keep people in their place. I don't throw away all the written religious scripts that are a lot of good sense in it. But the funny thing is that most of them are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not very much different on these prophets. They were smart people trying to tell some smart things. That's my opinion. And then you can go into the
like
spiritual
you have the Middle
thing.
East going on right now with like Israel, Palestine, and like the Muslims and the Christians and the Jews fighting over some religion things happening 2000 years ago.
Yeah.
And they more or likely believe the same things. They have some different persons they focus more than others. But like you can cross, you can read all the 3 books and it's like the same stories, the same happenings.
But there are some things that are written in all the books that you can take very literally. So I have one funny example. It's because I learned it from like a political religious or anti-religious group that just wanted get rid of the state church, which they now have accomplished. They had some funny drawings because in the Bible it says that you need to have a stick and you have to make a hole in the ground and you have to sit there and cover it up. So if we're going to take it very literally, that we couldn't have water closets.
And I also think like
so that's being a bit silly, but are you going to use the smart things that says in these books and to the best for all people and not being so some religious group in Norway, no, girls have to have long hair because it says in the Bible. You know. Yeah. So.
And like when Christian people, I often see Christian people discussing Islam and Muslims, and they're like, it's a religion of violence and whatnot.
Yeah.
And
religion of violence. Oh my God.
Have those people ever read the Bible?
Yeah.
Because they always complain about small quotations in the Quran about how you should treat people not believing the same thing as you. And if you read the Bible, it says that you're to hurt and to get rid of people not believing in Jesus.
Yeah.
In the same way.
And it says that in the old script that it was some bears were coming to take all and tear apart the children.
But I think when you mix
it's so much
when
crazy
you mix
things.
belief and political parties,
dangerous
in the 2024 era and religion, it doesn't go together.
No, and as I say, I may use wrong words, but that's what I call religion. But I think that it's very nice with this to be spiritual and to think that we have more in us and there is more to the world and that's why I am a bit maybe disappointed about Asia. That the Christianity have taken over so much, because I was more, I don't know if the Buddhism has less violence. I don't think so, but still it's more
violent, but it's very strict.
Yeah, and
they have very strict laws if you want to be like a real practitioner of Buddhism. It's really strict, like in how you're supposed to live.
And that's what I am. But I mean, just being spiritual. That you think that I don't know if I believe in afterlife, but it's energies, and we have energies. And if you think about the energy, and so not much about the religion, but the like the medicine, the acupuncture thing that we have energies, and it needs to be in balance, and my energy can affect you a lot, and some people are so sensitive that they are that they can't go into a room, and sometimes it's okay, but other times it doesn't work, and I feel that I have been at least have been a bit sensitive, and it changes. It's, you can change it yourself as well. You can almost go into this ghost. We talked about poltergeist here the other day.
Yeah.
And poltergeist is actually true, but it's something you do yourself in your own mind. Okay, now we are far out. but the thing is that use history, use your sense, and you are on the right track, I think. South Korea.
Yeah, at least now that the youth has actually been active in the protest.
And I think that you should protect what you have, even if it's a bit Americanized, a bit much, you know, you need to be pretty and things, but still it's your thing.
And it's still their country, so
yes.
be more politically active.
More politically active and protect it from foreigners. And then I think I would like to move to South Korea, but protect your country against me as well. Because maybe my opinions doesn't suit your country.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. That it's nice that not all countries are alike. That there are some difference. And traveling through Europe, in the end, we were so used to everybody speaking English. In Denmark, they don't speak Danish almost. I was very disappointed when I was in Copenhagen and they just speak English. They actually don't know Danish. There are so many foreigners that they don't speak Danish, and that's a shame, because then the Danish language has a lot of English words, and South Korean has as well.
And so the same with like you have Germany and France. With like all their immigration, where you have small communities in Paris that only speaks like Turkish and Arabic, and the same in Germany.
Yeah.
Like you lose the German culture, you lose the German way of life. Like some cities in Germany, they don't even have Oktoberfest anymore.
Oh.
Because the population in those cities are less Germans.
So they don't like the liquor. The Muslim don't drink. Yeah.
So
okay.
they stopped having the Oktoberfest parties or the Christmas markets because of this.
Yeah.
And I think when that's happening, like in Norway, if we stopped celebrating 17th of May.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's like there's a bit criticism, but it's two ways. In Norway, if you take the Christmas celebration, I am not in the church, so I don't want to have my children have to go to church as a part of the school finishing or the 17th of May celebration. It's not about but they should learn about Christmas, and they could have a Christmas party, and they should learn about the tradition. That's our tradition. It's the Christian Christmas. But in Norway, you don't know that. We don't say Christmas. In Norwegian, that will be Kristmesse. A mass is like a religious ceremony. We still say Jul. The old word with the maybe you heard of Thor and Odin, and
it's still from Norse mythology.
Yeah, so they couldn't take away our Yule, which is in the most dark time of the year. And if you study the Bible and thing, I think that they just put Jesus' birth in the most
Yeah,
convenient place. I think it was February or something.
They
I read
say
about.
that his birth is like 24th of December, but a lot of people have come to the notion that it's closer to like mid-January.
Yeah. Okay, mid-January. I thought it was February,
Yeah,
but I don't know.
one of
But
those.
anyway, so so we still say Yule, and we are celebrating Yule, and you can take away the psalms and the most Christian Christmas songs if you want, but still you should celebrate Yule. God Jul. That means Merry Christmas. And we have other traditions. Another tradition I never seen, it was this, somebody said it was Norwegian. That's wrong on YouTube. What was it called again in Austria? That goat?
Krampus.
Krampus. Never heard of it. Like an ugly, scary goat. Was just in Austria, and when we talked about the language, they were speaking German, not so much English, and many did not understand English. And I was, and my companion said, "Oh, they don't speak English." No, so good, nice. Then I have to use my brain and maybe understand a bit German. It's very close to Norwegian, and I haven't learned it in school, but that's a thing to travel to another country. You don't understand them, and I didn't understand all of them in South Korea. Of course, I like that the big tourist center, they speak English, and they did. But I went to the hairdresser, I went to a film studio, and they did not speak English, and I was just, okay, well, this is exciting. So I'm learning Korean because I'm going back.
And I think countries should keep their language.
Yes. And
don't all go over to English, because
and not so much English.
You lose yourself.
Television. It's so many Korean words that are so English. Please, don't do as Denmark and Norway. Sweden are better to keeping Swedish, because I worked at McDonald's and we use all the English words, production bin, and but in Sweden they had Swedish word for it, so they were better to keep their language. So please, all my Korean friends, if any of my subscribers are from Korea, and I think maybe some of you are, and maybe you're looking into this, learn your history if you haven't, but I think you have, and use your vote. But read all the history also about the parties that you can elect, not what they say they're going to do, but what have they done, which direction are they going to, and it's very much difference. I don't think maybe you have a communist party there. I don't know, not sure. But,
South Korea?
But
no,
as socialism is not that bad, but communism, it doesn't work. It's the best, it's the best system, I think, but it doesn't work because we are selfish.
Karl Marx's way of communism will never be achieved because of humans. In a very perfect world, we are never gonna get it.
No,
because humans are greedy.
And then you get a dictator if you have communism.
Yes.
But it's good to share a bit more, but it should be a bit difference about people, because people are different. But I think that to have a minimum wage, so you don't have to have 2 jobs to survive, that's very important.
Have to turn to criminal activities.
Yeah, or criminality. So
just to survive. I mean.
Yeah, you need to, when you work hard, you need to get good pay so you can live. And of course, then if you have more responsibility, more education, you get higher paid. But also if you have more dangerous works, as we have here. So I know a lot of people with not so much education, but a lot of skills and using their body hard, and they have a good life, and they can buy their expensive cars and all these things they want, and yeah, they have more money than me. But
It's like when I worked with painting boats
yeah,
and ships.
he painted ships.
You don't need to go to school. It's not a very high education job, but you work long days.
And it's dangerous for.
And it's dangerous, and you get paid because it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And you get paid a lot because it's dangerous.
And
you
that you should.
Too many years.
So you had a pay I never had in that job, but also you can't do that job for many years because it's too dangerous for the body.
Yeah, your lungs and.
Yeah, so that's why it's good pay.
Sick.
But I think that in these I call the greedy countries, maybe the bosses and the companies are earning a lot of money, then the people on the bottom are getting used too much, and that's where I get a bit more socialist. That
it's like
not that big gap.
It's like in Norway, you can't get fired for
no
any reason. They have to have a good reason. And
very good. It's very difficult to get to fire people here. It's
but like
almost
if you take
too difficult.
If you take the US, where you can work in a grocery store, you can do one mistake and you're out.
Yeah, here is only theft that's out like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, a mistake, no. And no, so that's advice that you should take. How do you want your country to go, and see, especially education system, that you don't have to be that rich, because then the poor people will still be poor.
And you only have the elite being more powerful.
Yeah.
And the poor gets poorer.
Yeah, yeah. That's my point. Was that it's a bigger gap in the UK as well. I worked at McDonald's in UK, and I could not live on that wage. I went back to Norway, and that was enough for me to have pay rent and live a good life. And the boss here doesn't have so much higher wage than the lowest crew, but in UK he had a lot of money every month, and the crew could not live off the wages.
And it's like also people think of Asia as a country that puts a lot of people in jail for like their political meanings and so on. But the funny thing is they did analysis on this a couple of weeks ago. You know which country in Europe arrested most people for their political meanings on social media?
No.
It's not Russia, as most people believe. It's the UK.
UK, yeah. Okay.
UK arrested 3,100 people last year for what they meant
on social media.
On social media.
Okay. I don't know that.
And that's even more than South Korea and North Korea combined.
Wow.
And I think when you have countries deciding what you're supposed to mean, nah.
No, you should say what you mean, but
in
also here
respectful manner.
Yeah. And here in Norway we had some years ago it's easy to agree that when it's too many foreigners coming in and you get scared of your country and that you lose your identity and have so many problems. Sweden has some problems with the gangs and the ghettos. They are very nice people, and they help a lot of people and have a lot of foreigners. They had actually children program on different languages when I was young. They had many different languages for them, and but I lost my point as usual. But what did you say before that? Did you remember?
Like you should be able to say what you mean.
Yes, because it was a man that was against the foreigners. So it's easy, as I said, to agree with him in one way, but he was just bad, most people think, because he was more hate in a
Speech,
hate culture
yeah.
and hate speeches. So, but he is allowed to say what he means. So he was standing there on a big square saying what he means, but 10,000 people who standing underneath him for first turning his back, their back to him because they don't want to listen, and later we just jumping and said he should jump. That was a joke though, but he was standing on top there, secured by the police because he has the freedom of speech. But 10,000 people said, "Jump, jump, 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 jump," and so nobody could hear what he was saying. So we screamed so high that he couldn't say his meanings. That's also allowed, and it's allowed to have one outside the government.
You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, you can stand here and say, but you can stand on the other side and say opposite. But sometimes the police is standing in between, so it doesn't get any trouble. But that's very important to say what you mean and protect that. Freedom of speech is very, very important, but you should also respect other people, so you don't just
End up like Nazi Germany, where they banned books. You can say what you mean, or in Russia, where if you have protests in Russia, it's like you'll get jailed for it for many years.
But when you have my point was, if you say your meaning, you should be respectful how you talk about other people as well.
Yeah.
You don't just pour out shit out of your mouth.
And you need to have a reason.
And call the other one for idiots and things. You shouldn't do that, even if you think so. You should rather have example so the other people think and see that he's an idiot.
Yeah.
But don't say that he's an idiot. Or have less brain cells or whatever. Just let people think that by come with good examples. I am too bad, so I could never be a politician. I engage, but it's a reason I have him with me on this, because I don't remember and I fall out. And I, as I started with, I left the world of news because it was too much for me, and I needed to go back. I was alone now, no kids in the house anymore, and I'm going back to my youth in a way. Starting the life again. And K-pop was my savior in a way. No, it didn't save me, but it took me back and gave me some energy. And I love what we started with. Protest through K-pop. Use it for something meaningful, because of course the show business is what you call a dream world. But who said, which emperor said that we need two things, and it's bread and circus? Was it Caesar or Augustus or whatever? Yeah, you need also circus to, I think, keep your mind sane. So it's an important, but then you can use it as protest as well. It has been a lot of musicians writing very important songs that I was tearing up thinking about John Lennon. Imagine. That's one of my favorite songs.
Vietnam War.
I don't know what it was about, because I just heard it when I was young on the radio, and I almost discovered it when he died. I always discover people when they have died almost. But I was in Iceland. They have a huge monument made by his wife, Yoko Ono. It's called Imagine Peace, and all the participants there writing peace messages, and we hang it on a tree. And all these notes was sent to Yoko Ono, and she makes new artwork of it. And it's a light monument that they light at his birthday in October, John Lennon's birthday, and they are what you call it, slukkelyse.
just
put
did
out
that-
the lights
yeah.
again on his death day in December. And that was very meaningful. Imagine peace. And what he says, and no religion too, is because I think that the religion have a lot of problems. But I think you can use the religion for good, because that's mostly it says. Be good to each other,
It
and
says
love
good
is.
things, but it's getting drawn out of proportion, and people are using their own beliefs against other people's beliefs because people don't believe in the same things.
And what I respect most about South Korea is their respect. It can be a bit too much sometimes, I'm sure, and especially of stupid elder people. Why should you respect me more when you know more than me? In a way. Yeah, that's my opinion. He knows more than me, so I respect him more than. Yeah. So, but anyway, I like this, that you're bowing, that you are respecting each other, and all this respect is so nice. So, and then we can respect each other's religion as well, as long as you just respect each other. And love is above all. Love is a powerful thing.
And just to take that, like, before the whole October 7th thing in Israel, that's before the October 7th, like 2020, during COVID, you had Jews literally holding hands outside of mosques, protecting the Muslims so they could pray.
Wow.
And you had the same with the Muslims protecting the synagogues for all the Jews going to the temple to pray themselves, or all the Christians and Muslims protecting their own temples because the Muslims had to pray 5 times a day. And the Muslims did the same for the Jews and the Christians. And the way it's going now, you're just pushing all the religions further away from each other. You're giving Muslims a reason to not like the Jews. You're giving the Jews a reason not to like the Muslims. And you have the Christians in the middle of it all. And like in Jerusalem, which is both a Muslim city, it's a Jewish city, it's a Christian city. They all have temples there going 2,000 years back. And it's
so you should see that it's 2024. I mean, more than 2,000 years. We should think differently and just take out what's important, and that's respect each other and live together as one. And I don't think that you should go out and have so many children as possible anymore. And back to what I say, we talked about the jobs before. Norway and South Korea have little birth rate, and they're screaming about it, but it's not a bad thing. I think we are enough people in the world, but we need to import some to do some jobs, but because other countries is too many people. But you need to maybe import the people that really want to be in that country, that they can find the suitable countries. I don't know these rules in Europe that the first country you get to is the one that you should be in.
There was some rules that stated if you were from Syria or like the Middle East, if you go to France, you have to stay in France for a good amount of time. I think they've changed a bit of it.
Okay.
But it's still like if you go to, like, say, Germany, you have to stay in Germany for at least like 3 years before you can move. And the same with France and stuff. But I think like people should be able to choose country if they want to.
Yes, because the laws are a bit strange. We have some young people here, and he has an uncle in Bergen, and now why does he have to stay here? He wants to go to his uncle.
Yeah.
And that would be maybe nice, but uncle is not close family in Norway.
No.
It's our family is very small. It's mother, father, and the children. Outside that, it's not family in a way. It is, but not in the state's mind. So there's this young boy coming here, but he has been in another country, so he has to go back to that country instead of coming here to his uncle, which he thought.
And another weird thing we're doing in Norway, like you could come to Norway when you're 2 or 3 years old, and like, have you heard of Mustaf? He's from Oslo.
Yeah, I think I heard of him.
He got sent back to Palestine 2 years ago, but he's been going to school in Norway since he was 6.
Yeah.
He's grown up in Norway. He has Norwegian friends.
And he doesn't know anything about his old country.
No, he moved from Palestine
He didn't learn
when he was 4.
language even.
No, he doesn't even speak Arabic.
No. And I think bureaucracy is a difficult thing. You need to be strict, but it's so strict that they don't make sense sometimes.
It's too strict.
Yeah. So, but that's a diff. My last word here, I have a saying. The people that says that politics is easy, simple, they are lying. It's very difficult. So that's my statement, because you need to work and you need to read and you need to know the history. But as I said before, many times now, go and see what the parties have done before, because that says a lot about what they are going to do in the future as well. Don't just listen to what they say now and what they have. Of course, they have an agenda, and you can't also judge them on what they have done, because sometimes if they don't have flertal majority, if they don't have majority, they are not in power to do what they want. They have to negotiate and do. In Norway, we say swallow camels.
Yeah.
Because, okay, I can say swallow this camel to so you get your will if I get my will in this matter. So this matter is more important for this party than this matter. So that's why I say politics is not simple. So that's our, I think it's finished. And where's my light stick? Go on. It's not working anymore. Yeah, it is. Go on and protesting in peaceful way and vote for your next president and learn your history. Thank you very much. Yeah, and young Casio. And it doesn't, I think, Shalgayo is a new thing I say. I think it's right. I hope it is. And see you next time.